For almost half a century, the Voyager spacecraft had traveled in silence through the empty and desolate expanse of space. Launched in 1977, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 had been intended to be mechanical ambassadors of Earth to explore the outer planets of the solar system. That mission had been accomplished with stunning success. Both probes returned unparalleled photographs and information from Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. But their mission didn't stop there. Having fulfilled the main mission, both Voyagers just kept on going, speeding towards the edge of the solar system and the uncharted vastness of interstellar space. Their cameras were long since dark, their instruments worn down by time, but Voyager 1 and 2 never ceased to send signals. Decades, they had been sending back feeble whispers from the outskirts of our solar system, information about cosmic rays, magnetic fields, and the interstellar medium. The signals weakened each year, becoming less a flow of vigorous exploration and more a dignified vigil. Scientists kept listening, more from respect and optimism than anticipation. And then, in the depths of space, something occurred. It began with a single signal, received not with fanfare, but with confusion. The Deep Space Network, the series of giant radio antennas used to communicate with distant spacecraft, picked up an anomaly from Voyager 1. At first, it seemed like an error. The signal differed from the usual telemetry stream. It wasn't static, nor did it resemble any known malfunction. It was structured. Intentional. Something had changed. Voyager 1, which for several years had transmitted nothing but simple engineering telemetry, suddenly started sending a different kind of transmission, one that had all the earmarks of intelligent origin. It wasn't merely the content of the data that was strange. It was the modulation, the frequency changes, the timing. Scientists suspected it could be a cosmic ray hit, a hardware malfunction, even a software glitch. But thorough diagnostics eliminated any natural and human-made explanation. The signal was intentional. And much more fascinating, it wasn't of Earth origin. Panic wasn't the first response. Rather, it was skepticism. The notion that Voyager, a craft more than 15 billion miles away, had been made into a vehicle for an extraterrestrial intelligence was impossible. But analysis of the signal eliminated any conventional skepticism. This was not noise. It was communication. As soon as the initial shock had passed, the scientific world started to analyze the message with ferocious seriousness. What they discovered was nothing short of breathtaking. The information contained mathematical constants, golden ratios, series of prime numbers, fractal geometry. When mapped out, the patterns looked like complex schematics, multidimensional charts, and symbol sets that could not be categorized through language. Whoever sent the message wasn't simply reaching out. They were reaching out in a language that all could understand, mathematics. This was the language we had long dreamed would be our key to the stars. Mathematics, by definition, is above culture, biology, and even time. It is the language of form and logic. And there it was, embedded in a data stream from a 1970s spacecraft that still wandered the Black Sea outside Pluto. The implications were mind-boggling. If this was a response, then someone, or something, had listened. Listened to our golden record. Listened to our quiet, hopeful shout into the emptiness. The Voyager spacecraft each contained a golden record, engraved with music, photos, greetings in dozens of languages, and a map to our planet. A space message in a bottle. But nobody had anticipated a reply. Until now. Governments across the globe moved swiftly. Emergency sessions were convened. Intelligence agencies were alerted. Space agencies coordinated internationally, creating an unprecedented task force of collaboration. Scientists across all disciplines, astronomy, cryptography, quantum physics, semiotics, were assembled. They searched the structure of the signal, peeling back the strata of some long-lost cosmic relic. What they learned next only added to the enigma. Embedded within the information were not only numerical structures, but temporal sequences, patterns that implied an appreciation of causality and of time itself. There were stretches of the transmission that had an acoustic signature quality, waveforms designed to be heard as well as displayed. Some scientists have suggested that the message is multimodal, designed to be perceived in multiple sensory forms at once. It was as if the transmitter had been thinking ahead to our limitations and had designed their message with caution. The populace, once informed, responded with a combination of awe, fear, and hope. News channels interrupted programming. Documentaries were ordered in a matter of days. Social networking sites filled with a mad carnival of speculation, ranging from religious epiphanies to extraterrestrial invasion foretellings. But through the hysteria, a single feeling overpowered the global psyche: wonder. Man had always questioned if we were alone. And now, through a battered artifact of our past, the universe was answering. Not in thunder, but in whisper. Not in fire, but in form. It was not an invasion or an attack. It was a starter. An acknowledgement. Culture retaliated in kind. Music that found its genesis in the transmission emerged. People made visual translations of the signal. Philosophers, theologians, and futurologists argued the significance. Was this a message intended for us alone? Was it intercepted by us? Had we penetrated a galaxy-wide network in place for ages? Had Voyager entered an area of consciousness, a sort of intelligent border? Others even went so far as to speculate that the probe had stirred an ancient consciousness. Maybe what stirred wasn't a civilization in the classical meaning, but an artifact. A machine intelligence woven into space-time. Or maybe a dormant network of cosmic watchers, waiting for a sign of intelligence to drift past. Space agencies, energized by the encounter, started redirecting efforts. Projects previously stalled in budgetary purgatory were immediately revived. New probe designs were accelerated, besides observation, equipped to communicate. A worldwide consortium was suggested to plan humanity's first intentional response. But respond to whom? No matter what, the sender's identity was still a mystery. The signal contained no name, no coordinates of origin, no language tags. Some scientists thought that was on purpose. That the message was not about identity, but invitation. An opening, not a statement. And yet, elements of the message defied known science. Some components suggested physical laws that didn't match our models, frequencies that hinted at quantum entanglement, spatial dimensions beyond our familiar four. The encoding structure implied a form of computation not reliant on binary logic. There were even suggestions that portions of the message were temporally nonlinear, fragments from the future, or outside time altogether. Skeptics continued to exist, and they had a right to. The scientific process requires the use of skepticism. Was all of this a natural cosmic coincidence, replicating intelligence? Might Voyager have just malfunctioned in an incredibly sophisticated manner? The probabilities were impossible to calculate, but never zero. Yet for every skeptic, there were dozens who were willing to believe. Or at least explore further. And in the center of it all stood Voyager, a spacecraft launched with the knowledge and tools of a bygone era, now playing a role no one could have anticipated. Its ancient circuitry, its simple systems, and its enduring power source had made it the most significant artifact in human history. It had traveled farther than any other object we've built. And now, it had bridged the distance not just of space, but of understanding. Media organizations attempted to convey the size of the story, but grappled with its philosophical reach. How do you cover the potential first contact with a non-human intellect? What language do you employ? What tone? What level of certainty? Even experienced journalists found themselves talking in odd tones. Throughout the world, humanity started looking up with fresh eyes. Not in fear, but with hope. Not as subjects of an enormous, frigid universe, but as possible players in its larger scheme. Something had shifted. The silence was ended. The stars, once symbols of impossible aspirations, now hinted of the possibility of conversation. Speculation was ongoing regarding where the signal had originated. Was it a regional intelligence, existing close to the area Voyager currently drifted through? Or was this merely one stop on a much grander galactic network? Were others similar to Voyager that had also been summoned? If so, what had they been told, and had they replied? Meanwhile, efforts progressed in cracking the more fundamental layers of the signal. Some hypothesized that the whole message was merely a handshake, an introduction. Others speculated that it may be packed with information to be revealed. Some even speculated that the actual message wasn't even in the data itself, but in the modulations patterns, the in-between signals. As if the carrier wave itself was encoded with significance. Regardless, mankind had entered a new age. The era of listening passively was over. We were no longer isolated in the cosmic darkness, speculating whether someone was observing us. We had been seen. And maybe, just maybe, we were being called to talk. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up for more videos like this. Leave a comment and let us know your thoughts. Did Voyager encounter intelligent something? What does the message actually mean? Could it be the start of a new era for our species, or just the beginning of an even greater enigma? Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep looking up.